President Tinubu departs Abuja for Dubai ahead of two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. Federal government's delegation engages citizens in Enugu, assures them that reforms will yield clear results by 2027.
The government of Bola Tinubu has created 3 key business hubs, totaling over 200 billion naira.
And federal government rescues 11 Nigerian miners stranded in Central African Republic. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, ahead of his two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. The president, who was bid farewell by members of his cabinet, including his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, and National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, took off from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at about 11:15 this Friday morning. The flight to Dubai is a stopover before proceeding to Yokohama in Japan. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, indicates that the President will, in Japan, attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference of African Development, TICAD-9, in the city of Yokohama from August 20th to 22nd. With the theme, Co-Create Innovative Solutions with Africa, TICAD-9 will focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environment and institutions through private investments and innovation. In addition to attending plenary sessions on the themes linked to the conference, the Nigerian president will hold bilateral meetings and meet the chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investments in Nigeria. At the end of TICAD-9, President Tinubu will leave for Brazil's capital, Brasilia, on a 2-day visit from Sunday, August 24th to Monday, August 25th. The state visit to Brazil is on the invitation of the Brazilian president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, who is leading a federal government delegation on tour of projects in the southeast, says at the end of President Tinubu's first term, the benefits of the ongoing reforms will be clearer as the federal government remains committed to transparency, accountability, and delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians. This was at a citizens' engagement in Enugu to reassess the activities of governments within 2 years. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Is a deliberate effort to break communication barriers and increase people's participation in governance through direct conversation between public leaders, particularly those saddled with the task of communicating government messages and the people. Mid-term into the first-term tenure of renewed hope from the north to the south, the federal government's communicators are physically demonstrating the content of their messages and statements on the journey so far.
Recognizing the Southeast industrial strength, the government of Bola Tinubu has created 3 key business hubs, totaling over 200 billion naira. The Presidential Provisional Grant Scheme, the PCGS, the Federal Government MSME Incubation Fund, and the Federal Government Manufacturing Sector Fund. All these funds are available, and Nigerians, manufacturers, and business startups have been able to access these funds nationwide. These achievements are good, and when vision meets action, under the renewed group agenda, Tinubu State has stepped into a new era of federal presence and development, and we are only getting started. So we want to target 1,000
also help them to increase volume, and make them where they want to be. The idea is that government wants to push. If we multiply 8,000 words times 1,000, that's over 18 million people. And the government wants to make sure that they become where they are.
Participants say they are refreshed and confident of government's critical and impactful decisions.
We also want to use this medium to extend our profound gratitude to Mr. President for all the knowledgeable programs and projects he's undertaking in the Enugu State. We want to assure him that at the right time we will reciprocate.
We thank you for the Southeast Police Commission. We thank you for South Insurance Commission. Because you know, we pay attention. I also want to thank you for working with our intelligence government. He came here January 6th, and he said, despite party affiliations, he lost my government.
While telling our president, please remind him that we have continued to say space for the women. We still say reserved seats for the women.
Traditional and religious institutions, women and youth groups, as well as civil society representatives from across Enugu State participated in the citizens' engagement in Enugu. Salihu Abdullah Higuanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Minister of Steel Developments Shaibu Abubakar Audu has reaffirmed federal government's strong commitment to fast-tracking the revival of the Ajaokuta Steel Company and other legacy steel assets in the country. Ekene Ndulue reports that this renewed pledge came at the close of the National Steel Summit held in Abuja.
It's day 2 of the National Steel Summit in Abuja. Stakeholders from across the industry are engaging in intensive discussions, searching for lasting solutions to revive Nigeria's struggling steel sector. Key recommendations center on the revival of the Ajaokuta steel plant.
Our gathering here
for the Minister of Steel Development, Shaibu Abubakar Audu, the time for promises is over. It is time for action. He announced plans to develop and launch a national strategic action plan for the steel and metallurgical sector within the next 6 months.
Within the next 12 months, we will conclude the technical and financial framework, which is the technical and financial audit for the phased completion of Ajaokuta and the restoration of NIOMCO operations, starting with production-ready units. We would launch the National Steel Policy Implementation Framework and push for the enactment of the Metallurgical Industry Act.
If you look at the big buildings everywhere in the world, what is holding them? Steel. And there is no way this country can import that amount of steel that I have just mentioned. We cannot import it. We must build locally.
As the summit draws to a close, stakeholders are living with renewed hope and determination to reposition the steel industry as a key driver of national development. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
11 Nigerian miners stranded in the Central African Republic have been rescued and returned safely to Nigeria through the federal government's intervention. They were accompanied by Ambassador Babagana Ahmed and received by a government's delegation led by Air Commodore Kenneth Oyong at the Nnamdi Ezekwe International Airport, Abuja. The miners arrived on an ASKY Airlines Boeing 747-200 aircraft. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria want a robust support system prioritizing breastfeeding, empowering mothers and improving child health. They suggested more awareness creation to help society understand and harness the enormous health benefits of breastfeeding to mother, child, and society at large. Lydia Sampson reports.
Despite the proven benefits of breastfeeding, barriers still persist. Some of these barriers are inadequate work policies, lack of family support, and misinformation. Myths such as breast milk being insufficient or formula superior. These, guests noted, undermine confidence and compromise child development and health.
It's not just about maternity leave, because that's up to 6 months, but after 6 months you come back to work. I can't leave my baby at home, and even if I have good care at home, if I'm breastfeeding, I need to be able to express and store my breast milk in a safe, clean, hygienic place. So we're saying all workplaces, beginning with government, must have either creches or lactation, hygienic, safe lactation spaces that mothers can express milk and take.
Feeding bottles is not the best. Now, what happens in feeding bottles is that when you put the milk inside, there is a gap, and that gap is the air. When you are breastfeeding that baby, the air will first of all go into the baby, and the baby will get easy satiety. So, and at the end of the day, the baby will not be getting enough, will get malnourished.
Breastfeeding safe places and limited healthcare guidance, busting myths around exposure of breast and breastfeeding while pregnant, they acknowledge, also hinders success.
There's a renewed commitment, to the global commitment. In fact, there is a lot of intensive action to ensure that as part of our commitment to achieve universal health care coverage, maternal and child health survival is a critical component of it. Without realization of that, we cannot achieve universal health care coverage.
Holistic solutions, the guests reiterate, require coordinated efforts like workplace flexibility, comprehensive maternal education, encouraging partners' involvement, and accessible community resources, dispelling myths through reliable information and empathetic counseling to strengthen mothers' resolve. By championing strong support networks and informed choices, guests on Good Morning Nigeria agreed communities can inspire and create nurturing environments where breastfeeding thrives, benefiting both mother and child. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
You're watching the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
Precision, engineered to perfection. Every component is crafted with care, and each design is meticulously tested. From concept to creation, our engineers push the boundaries of technology, seamlessly blend in performance and sustainability with a deep commitment to African ingenuity. Introducing the CNG Boss, a remarkable achievement in engineering designed to operate on compressed natural gas, a cleaner and more sustainable fuel alternative. At Innocent Vehicles, we proudly lead the way in creating greener mobility across Africa. And it doesn't stop there. From SUVs to sedans, spacious buses to electric cars, Innocent offers a wide range of models designed to meet every need. Innocent Vehicle, the pride of African roads.
Welcome back. The acting chairman of the Federal Character Commission, Kayode Oladele, has reaffirmed the Commission remains fully committed to merit-based recruitment while upholding Nigeria's federal character principle. Speaking during an interactive session with the Director General of the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP, Dr. Obiageli Amadiobi, Oladele dismissed claims that fairness in representation comes at the expense of competence. Oladele emphasized that the FCC will never step down merit. He praised NOTAP's leadership for its cooperative stance, urging the agency to correct existing imbalances in its workforce and upholding constitutional guidelines during future recruitments. The FCC chairman also issued a stern warning to MDAs that violate recruitment laws, stating that the Commission has the constitutional authority to act, including prosecuting defaulters. In her response, NOTAP's Director General expressed gratitude for the engagement and pledged strict adherence to federal character guidelines. She described the meeting as purpose-driven and promised to keep the Commission closely involved in future recruitment processes. Now, it was meant to be a day of celebration, the decoration of 30 newly promoted Assistant Controllers General of Corrections. But the tone shifted fast as the Controller General of the Corrections, Sylvester Nwakuche, warned that jailbreaks will no longer be tolerated. Let's get details from Victor Azu.
Smiles and handshakes to a stern wake-up call. The Controller General of Corrections, Sylvester Nwakuche, used the Kefi jailbreak, where 16 inmates escaped and 5 officers were injured, as his case in point. 7 escapees are back in custody, but for Nwakuche, that's not enough.
Any further abdication of responsibilities will surely attract the big sick. I charge you to take full control of their respective zones, the state commands, and your custodial centers as ACGs.
He charged controllers and officers in charge of custodial centers to tighten security of his sanctions. Some of the newly promoted ACGs who may man zonal headquarters told NTA News the honor comes with a heavier responsibility to serve with integrity and keep the gates secure.
What we need to do as ACGs is to put in our best in order to meet the requirements, the mandates of the government.
Correctional officers have to wake up. It's a call to duty. They have to wake up to strive and do their responsibility, the primary assignment of protecting the public and protecting the nation at large.
Decorations being pumped, family pride, and even top brass. But this year, the backdrop is stern. Promotion is no shield from accountability. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, 6 outstanding civil servants have been honored for their exceptional service, professionalism, and contributions to public service in Kogi State as 2025 Civil Service Week rounds off. Jibola Christopher reports that the ceremony was held at the banquet hall of the Government House, Lokoja.
The week-long activities marking Civil Service Week in Kogi State had a free medical outreach, special religious services, novelty football match, tree planting, and public lectures to enhance productivity in the civil service. Speaking on behalf of the Governor, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Nurdin Abdullahi, commends the head of Civil Service, Dr. Elijah Binili, for sustaining the Civil Service Week as a platform to celebrate excellence. He calls for more award categories to accommodate officers across all cadres to encourage civil servants to embrace continuous self-development to remain relevant in a fast-changing world.
I want to encourage you to keep more and devote more energy in dishing out your experiences to service of the state.
In his remark, Dr. Elijah Binemi praises Kogi State civil servants for their steadfastness and commitment, urging them to embrace innovation and digital transformation in their daily operations.
We bring the week to a glorious close by celebrating the dedication, ingenuity, and selfless commitment of civil servants who have distinguished themselves.
Highlight of the event was the presentation of awards to distinguished officers drawn from the Office of the Heads of Civil Service, Ministry of Health, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the State, Civil Service Commission, Ministry of Finance, Budget and Planning, as well as local government. Each recipient received a certificate of recognition and a packaged gift item with a special commendations from His Excellency.
This award means a lot to me as a civil servant.
Ajibola Christopher, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Kogi State government has restated commitment to gender equality and women empowerment as it hosted the 2025 North Central Pre-Council Technical Zonal Consultative Workshop in Lokoja. The event held at the Government House marked the first time a national zonal pre-council meeting was hosted in the state ahead of the 25th National Council on Women Affairs. According to a statement from the Kogi State Government, the workshop showcased the administration's efforts at boosting women participation in governance, improving economic opportunities, and strengthening legal protections. Under Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo, Kogi has increased female representation in politics and launched programs that support women's financial independence. The statement also highlighted the establishment of a sexual assault referral center alongside key legislative advances such as the Child's Rights Law, Disability Law, and the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, all aimed at protecting vulnerable groups and promoting justice and safety in communities. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Developments, Fatima Momo, thanked the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs for choosing Kogi as host and called on participants to explore the state's cultural and economic strengths. The government emphasized that the event reflects Kogi's growing role in driving inclusive, gender-responsive policies across the nation. You're watching the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Let's get a recap of our top stories. President Tinubu departs Abuja for Dubai ahead of two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. Federal government's delegation engages citizens in Enugu, assures them that reforms will yield clear results by 2027.
The government of Bola Tinubu has created 3 key business hubs, totaling over 200 million naira.
Federal government rescues 11 Nigerian miners stranded in Central African Republic.
This is NTA News 24.
With less than 24 hours to the Dokina Ukura State constituency by-election in Kogi State, the Independent National Electoral Commission has dispatched sensitive materials to Dokina, confirming INEC's readiness for the election. Solomon Aeden reports.
The Dokina Ukura State constituency by-election scheduled for Saturday, August 16th in Kogi State is to fill the vacancy created by the death of former member of the State Assembly, Enema Paul, who died in December last year. A total of 78,059 registered voters are expected to participate in the election in 138 polling units, cutting across 4 registration areas in the constituency. Ahead of the election, INEC has dispatched sensitive materials comprising ballot papers and result sheets required for the conduct of the election to the constituency amidst tight security. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Kogi State describes the exercise at the Central Bank of Nigeria office in Lokoja as part of the organization's commitment to promoting transparency in the electoral process, assuring of a credible and fair by-election in the state.
We are committed to ensuring that the votes of the voters are counted and are respected, and that can find reflection at the declaration of results.
Everything is in order and perfect for now. If we can abide by the rules as we have started like this throughout the process of the election, there won't be any issue.
Meanwhile, the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Mila Antawaye, has also assured of adequate security before, during, and after the Saturday election.
An election has to be just half of a local government. So, by the grace of God, we have enough manpower to secure it. On our side, we are very ready.
Other stakeholders are also working together for a free, fair, and credible by-election in Dokina Ukura State constituency of Kogi State. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
That concludes the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigloye.